a marker pen, fineliner, marking pen, felt tip marker, felt tip pen, flow, marker or texta or sketch pen, is a pen which has its own ink source, and a tip made of porous, pressed fibers such as felt. A permanent marker consists of a container and a core of an absorbent material. This filling serves as a carrier for the ink. The upper part of the marker contains the nib that was made in earlier time of a hard felt material, and a cap to prevent the marker from drying out. Until the early 1990s, the most common solvents that were used for the ink were toluene and xylene. These two substances are both harmful and characterized by a very strong smell. Today, the ink is usually made on the basis of alcohols. History: Lee Newman patented a felt-tipped marking pen in 1910. In 1926, Benjamin Pascac patented a fountain paintbrush, as he called it, which consisted of a sponge-tipped handle containing various paint colors. Markers of this sort began to be popularized with the sale of Sidney Rosenthal's magic marker, which consisted of a glass tube of ink with a felt wick. By 1958, use of felt-tipped markers was commonplace for a variety of applications such as lettering, labeling, and creating posters. The year 1962 brought the development of the modern fiber-tipped pen by Yukio Hori of the Tokyo Stationery Company. Types: permanent marker permanent markers are porous pens that can write on surfaces such as glass, plastic, wood, metal, and stone. The ink is generally resistant to rubbing and water, and can last for many years. Depending on the surface and the marker used, however, the marks can often be removed with either vigorous scrubbing or chemicals such as acetone. Highlighters Highlighters are permanent markers used to highlight and cover over existing writing while still leaving the writing readable. Non-permanent marker A non-permanent marker uses an erasable ink, made to be used on a slick, non-porous writing surface, for temporary writing with overhead projectors, whiteboards, and the like. They may also be used by children, making marks that are easy to clean. The erasable ink does not contain the toxic chemical compounds xylene and or toluene as have been used in permanent markers. Wet erase markers are another version that are used on overhead projectors, signboards, whiteboards, and other non-porous surfaces. Security marker Special security markers, with fluorescent but otherwise invisible inks, are used for marking valuables in case of burglary. The owner of a stolen, but recovered item can be determined by using ultraviolet light to make the writing visible. Election marker Marker pens with election ink used to mark the finger, and especially the cuticle, of voters in elections in order to prevent electoral fraud such as double voting. The stain stays visible for a week or two and may also be used to assist in vaccinations in developing world communities and refugee camps. Porous point pen A porous point pen contains a point that is made of some porous material such as felt or ceramic. Draftsman's pens usually have a ceramic tip since this wears well and does not broaden when pressure is applied while writing. Dialectal variations: the use of the terms marker and felt-tipped pen varies significantly among different parts of the world. This is because most English dialects contain words for particular types of marker, often generic brand names, but there are no such terms in widespread international use. Asia In India, felt-tip pens are referred to as sketch pens, because they are mainly used for sketching purposes, whereas the permanent felt-tip markers are referred to as just markers. In Malaysia and Singapore, marker pens are simply called markers. In the Philippines, a marker is commonly referred to as a pentel pen, regardless of brand. In Indonesia, a marker pen is referred to as spidol. In South Korea and Japan, marker pens are referred to as sign pens, name pens, or felt pens. In Japan, permanent pens are also referred to as magic. Australia In Australia, the term marker usually refers only to large tip markers, and the terms felt tip and felt pen usually refer only to fine tip markers. Markers in Australia are often generically called texta, after a brand name of a type of permanent marker. Some variation in naming convention occurs between the states, for example in Queensland the brand name Nico has been commonly adopted. French-speaking countries equals, the French term for marker is feutre. Germany equals, the common German term for felt pen is Filzstift or Filzreiber, or Fasermaler. These are often used by children for sketching purposes, and should not be toxic. A highlighter is called Textmarker or Leuchtstift. Permanent markers are usually referred to as edding after the leading brand for markers. Spanish-speaking countries equals, in Spanish-speaking countries, common terms for markers are rotulador, marcador, and pluma cubed N. Highlighting markers are known as rotulador fluorescent, marcatextos, resaltador, destacador, and phosphorato. New Zealand equals, the generic terms for fine-tipped markers are usually felt pen, or felts. Russia, Lithuania, Ukraine and the Balkans equals, smaller felt pens are generally called th 3/4 th 1/4 th degree nn th micron n euro, and permanent markers are called th degree n euro th micron n euro. Romania equals, the generic term used for most felt-tip pens in Romania is Carioca, after the brand name of the first commercialized felt tips in Romania during the communist period. In recent times, the English word marker has been adopted and is used especially when referring to the permanent and highlighter variety of felt tip pens. South African equals, the term coquille is used for both felt pens and markers, particularly by white South Africans, as well as the standard marker. Canada and United States equals, in the United States, the word marker is used as well as magic marker, the latter being a genericized trademark. The word Sharpie is also now used as a genericized trademark. In Canada and the USA, magic marker is sometimes used to refer to reveal markers for magic picture books, where the colors of a picture are revealed by a colorless marker. Sharpie is a popular brand of permanent markers used for labeling. Markers are also sometimes referred to as felt pens or felts in some parts of Canada. See also, highlighter, list of pen types, brands and companies, paint marker. Notes and references.